Hello, beautiful soul. I want you to take a deep breath with me right now. Just breathe in slowly and let your shoulders drop as you breathe out. Feel yourself settling into this moment, into this space we're creating together. You know, there's something so special about the fact that you're here right now, listening to these words. It tells me that somewhere deep inside, you're ready for a shift. You're ready to step into a new way of seeing yourself and your worth in this world. I want you to know that whatever brought you to this moment, whether it's feeling overlooked, undervalued, or simply sensing that there's more love and joy available to you, all of that is perfectly okay. You're not broken, you're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be to begin this beautiful journey of recognizing the treasure that you are. Your heart led you here because it knows something wonderful is waiting for you. So many of us have been walking through life feeling like we need to prove ourselves, like we need to earn love, respect, and good things. We've been taught to seek approval, to wait for others to notice our value, to hope someone will finally see us as worthy. But what if I told you that this seeking, this constant looking outside yourself for validation, is actually keeping you from the very thing you desire most? What if the answer you've been searching for has been with you all along? Today, we're going to explore something revolutionary, the idea that you are already the prize, not because of what you do, not because of how you look, not because of your achievements or your relationships, but simply because you exist. You are a divine expression of life itself, and that makes you incredibly valuable. This isn't about becoming arrogant or thinking you're better than others. This is about coming home to the truth of who you are and letting that truth guide how you move through the world. I know this might feel foreign at first. Many of us grew up believing we had to be good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, successful enough to deserve love and respect. We learned to measure our worth by external standards, always coming up short, always feeling like we needed to try harder or be more. But what if all of that was just a misunderstanding? What if your worth was never something you had to earn in the first place? As we begin this journey together, I want you to be gentle with yourself. Change happens gradually, like the sun rising slowly over the horizon. You don't need to transform overnight. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. All you need is willingness. Willingness to consider that maybe, just maybe, you've been more magnificent than you ever allowed yourself to believe. Let's start by looking honestly at where you are right now in your relationship with yourself. This isn't about judgment or criticism. This is about awareness, because awareness is always the first step toward freedom. Many of us have been living our lives like we're auditioning for love. We present ourselves in ways we think will be acceptable, likable, worthy of attention and care. We shape ourselves to fit what we believe others want to see. This pattern often begins very early in life. As children, we naturally look to the adults around us to understand our place in the world. We watch their faces, listen to their words, and absorb their reactions to us. If we were praised for being quiet, we learned that our worth was connected to not taking up space. If we were celebrated for our achievements, we learned that love came through performance. If we were criticized or ignored, we learned that we weren't quite right as we were. These early experiences create what I call our worth blueprint, the unconscious beliefs we carry about what makes us valuable. For many of us, this blueprint tells us that worth is conditional. It must be earned, maintained, and proven over and over again. This blueprint runs quietly in the background of our lives, influencing every relationship, every decision, every moment of how we treat ourselves. When we operate from this conditional worth blueprint, we find ourselves constantly seeking evidence that we matter. We look for validation in the way people respond to us, in the opportunities that come our way, in the love we receive or don't receive. We become like emotional detectives. always gathering clues about whether we're acceptable or not. This is exhausting, and it keeps us trapped in a cycle of seeking that never truly satisfies. You might notice this pattern showing up in your relationships. Perhaps you find yourself working overtime to keep people happy, saying yes when you want to say no, or staying quiet about your needs because you don't want to be seen as difficult. Maybe you've noticed that you attract people who seem to take more than they give, or who treat you as optional rather than essential. These patterns aren't coincidences. They're reflections of the relationship you have with yourself. The beautiful thing about patterns is that once we see them clearly, we can begin to change them. Right now, just by bringing awareness to these dynamics, you're already starting to shift. You're beginning to separate what is true about you from what you learned to believe about yourself. This is sacred work, and I want you to honor yourself for having the courage to look at these tender places in your heart. The external world is always mirroring back to us what we believe about ourselves on the deepest level. When we don't fully value ourselves, we unconsciously give others permission to undervalue us too. When we treat ourselves as an afterthought, we attract people who will treat us the same way. This isn't about blame, it's about power. Because when you understand that you've been unconsciously training people how to treat you, you realize you also have the power to retrain them by changing how you treat yourself. Now let's talk about what it really means to be the prize. This phrase might bring up some resistance for you, and that's completely natural. Many of us have been taught that it's selfish or arrogant to think highly of ourselves. We've been conditioned to believe that humility means diminishing ourselves, that being good means putting everyone else first. But true humility isn't about making yourself small. It's about recognizing the divine spark within you and honoring it appropriately. Being the prize doesn't mean you think you're better than anyone else. It doesn't mean you become demanding, difficult, or entitled. What it means is that you recognize your inherent value and you allow that recognition to guide how you show up in the world. When you know you're the prize, you naturally carry yourself differently. You speak with more authority about your own experience. You make decisions that honor your well-being. You attract people and opportunities that match your energy of self-respect. Think about someone you deeply respect and admire, perhaps a mentor, a spiritual teacher, or someone who embodies grace and wisdom. Notice how they carry themselves. There's usually a quiet confidence about them, a sense that they know their worth without needing to prove it. They're kind and generous, but they don't diminish themselves to make others comfortable. They have healthy boundaries, not because they're selfish, but because they understand that respecting themselves allows them to show up more fully for others. This is what being the prize looks like in real life. It's not about perfection or having everything figured out. It's about treating yourself with the same love and respect you would offer to someone precious to you. It's about making choices from a place of self-honor rather than self-abandonment. It's about understanding that your worth isn't up for debate or negotiation. It simply is. When you truly embody being the prize, something magical happens. You stop chasing after love and approval because you're already giving these things to yourself. You stop trying to convince people of your value because you're no longer questioning it yourself. You start making decisions based on what truly serves your highest good, rather than what you think will make others happy. This shift in energy is magnetic. It draws toward you the people and experiences that can truly appreciate and celebrate who you are. The prize mindset is rooted in love, not ego. It comes from recognizing that you are a unique expression of life that has never existed before and will never exist again. You have gifts, perspectives, and a way of being that the world needs. When you honor this truth and live from it, you're not only serving yourself, you're serving everyone whose life you touch. You give others permission to recognize their own worth by the way you recognize yours. This doesn't mean you'll never feel insecure or have moments of doubt. Being the prize isn't about reaching some permanent state of unwavering confidence. It's about having a home base of self-worth that you can return to when life gets challenging. It's about knowing that even when you make mistakes, even when you're learning and growing, even when you're struggling, your essential worth remains intact. As we continue on this journey together, I want you to start paying attention to the small ways you can begin honoring yourself as the prize you are. Notice how you speak to yourself in your mind. Notice how you treat your body, your time, your energy. Notice what you say yes to and what you say no to. These seemingly small choices are actually profound declarations about how much you value yourself. The transformation from seeking worth to knowing worth is one of the most beautiful journeys you can take. It changes everything: how you walk through the world, how you relate to others, how you make decisions, how you handle challenges. It brings you home to yourself in the most loving way. And the most wonderful part is that this journey begins right where you are, right now, with the simple willingness to consider that you might be more magnificent than you ever dared to believe. As you begin to embrace this new understanding of yourself as the prize, you may find that old voices start speaking up. Voices from the past that tell you this kind of self-love is wrong, dangerous, or foolish. These voices often carry the messages we received early in life about what was acceptable and what wasn't. They might sound like a parent who was overwhelmed and told you to stop being so demanding. They might echo a teacher who made you feel like you weren't smart enough, or a sibling who teased you for being different. These old stories have been running the show for so long that they feel like truth, but they're not. They're just outdated programming that's ready to be updated with love. Let's take a gentle look at some of these old stories together. You don't need to dig deep or relive painful memories. Sometimes just acknowledging these patterns with compassion is enough to begin loosening their grip on your life. Many of us learned that love was something we had to earn through being good, being quiet, being helpful, or being perfect. We learned that our needs were too much, that we should be grateful for whatever scraps of attention we received, that asking for what we wanted was selfish or unrealistic. Perhaps you learned that your emotions were too big or inconvenient for others. Maybe you were told to stop crying, stop being so sensitive, or stop making such a fuss. These messages taught you to disconnect from your own inner wisdom, to doubt your feelings, and to believe that who you naturally were was somehow too much for the world to handle. Or maybe you learned the opposite, that you had to be more, do more, achieve more to be worthy of love and recognition. Some of us learned that our worth was tied to how much we could give to others. We became the helpers, the fixers, the ones who put everyone else's needs before our own. While service and kindness are beautiful qualities, when they come from a place of trying to earn love rather than expressing love, they become a prison. You might have learned that saying no made you bad, that having boundaries made you mean, that taking care of yourself was selfish. These old stories are like clothes that once fit, but are now too small. They served a purpose when you were young and trying to navigate your world safely, but they're constraining you now. The beautiful thing is that these stories aren't permanent features of who you are. They're learned behaviors that can be unlearned with patience and compassion. The process of releasing these old patterns isn't about forcing them away or fighting with them. It's about acknowledging them with kindness and then choosing something different. When you notice an old story trying to run your life, you can simply say, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I don't need this protection anymore. I'm safe to be worthy exactly as I am." This isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything is perfect. It's about gently redirecting your mind toward truth instead of old programming. Forgiveness becomes a powerful tool in this process, but not the kind of forgiveness that says what happened to you was okay. This is forgiveness that sets you free from carrying the weight of old hurts. When you forgive the people who gave you these limiting messages about your worth, you're not excusing their behavior. You're releasing yourself from the prison of resentment and anger that keeps you stuck in old patterns. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You might carry shame about the times you believed these old stories, the times you settled for less than you deserved, the times you abandoned yourself to try to please others. But you did the best you could with the understanding you had at the time. You were working with the tools you were given, trying to find love and safety in the only ways you knew how. This deserves compassion, not criticism. As you release these old stories, you might feel some grief, and that's completely natural. You're mourning the time you spent believing you weren't enough, the opportunities you missed because you didn't think you deserved them, the love you pushed away because you didn't believe you were worthy of it. Let yourself feel this grief without rushing to fix it or make it go away. Grief is love with nowhere to go, and honoring it is part of honoring yourself. Now let's explore how these beliefs about your worth don't just live in your mind, they live in your body too. Your body is incredibly wise and honest. It holds the truth of how you really feel about yourself, sometimes even when your mind is trying to convince you otherwise. When you believe you're not worthy, your body knows it. When you truly embrace your value, your body reflects that too. Notice how you carry yourself throughout the day. Do you walk with your head up, or do you tend to look down? Do you take up space confidently, or do you try to make yourself smaller? Do you speak with clear, strong voice, or do you tend to whisper or mumble? These aren't judgments, they're just information about how your beliefs are expressing themselves through your physical presence. Your posture tells a story about how you see yourself. When you feel worthy and valuable, you naturally stand taller. Your shoulders relax back, your chest opens, your breathing deepens. When you doubt your worth, your body tends to contract. You might hunch your shoulders, cave your chest inward, or hold your breath without realizing it. Your body is constantly communicating your inner state to the world and back to yourself. Breathing is one of the most powerful ways your self-worth shows up physically. When you feel confident and worthy, you breathe deeply and fully. When you feel anxious or unworthy, your breathing becomes shallow and restricted. The beautiful thing is that you can use your breath to begin shifting how you feel about yourself right now. Taking slow, deep breaths sends a message to your nervous system that you're safe, that you have time and space, that you matter enough to nourish yourself with oxygen. Your energy field extends beyond your physical body, and this energy also reflects your sense of worth. When you truly value yourself, your energy feels grounded and expansive. People are naturally drawn to this energy because it feels safe and authentic. When you're operating from old stories of unworthiness, your energy might feel scattered, contracted, or like you're trying too hard to please. The wonderful news is that you can begin shifting these physical patterns immediately, and as you do, your sense of worth will begin to shift too. This isn't about pretending or faking confidence. It's about using your body to support the truth of who you are. When you stand tall, breathe deeply, and take up appropriate space, you're giving your nervous system the message that you're valuable and deserving of respect. Try this simple practice. Stand up and feel your feet on the ground. Imagine roots growing from your feet deep into the earth. Let your shoulders soften and your chest open. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to release any tension you're holding. As you breathe, silently tell yourself, "I am worthy of love and respect." Notice how this feels different from your usual way of holding yourself. You can also use your body to interrupt old patterns when they arise. When you catch yourself shrinking or contracting, gently adjust your posture. When you notice your breathing becoming shallow, consciously deepen it. When you feel your energy scattering, place your hands on your heart and breathe into that space. These small physical shifts can create profound changes in how you feel about yourself. Building a daily practice that honors your worth is one of the most loving gifts you can give yourself. This isn't about adding more pressure to your life or creating another list of things you should do. It's about weaving small acts of self-honor into your existing routine, creating a foundation of worthiness that will support you throughout each day. How you begin each morning sets the tone for how you treat yourself and how others treat you. Instead of immediately checking your phone or rushing into the demands of the day, try creating a few moments of connection with yourself. This might be as simple as staying in bed for an extra minute and taking 3 conscious breaths while appreciating that you've been given another day to experience life. You might look in the mirror and offer yourself a kind word or gentle smile before focusing on what needs to be fixed or improved. You might set an intention for how you want to treat yourself today, perhaps with more patience, more kindness, more respect for your needs and feelings. These small morning practices create a container of self-love that you can return to throughout the day. Setting boundaries is one of the most practical ways to honor yourself as the prize you are. Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're loving guidelines that keep you healthy and available for authentic connection. When you have clear boundaries, you're teaching others how to treat you while also teaching yourself that your well-being matters. Boundaries can be as simple as not answering texts immediately if you're focused on something else, or saying, "Let me think about that and get back to you," when someone asks something of you instead of automatically saying yes. They might involve leaving conversations that consistently drain your energy or choosing not to attend events that don't feel nourishing to your spirit. The key to healthy boundaries is that they come from love, not anger. When you set a boundary from self-love, it feels firm but kind. When you set a boundary from resentment or fear, it often feels harsh or defensive. Learning to set boundaries from love takes practice, but it's one of the most powerful ways to demonstrate to yourself and others that you value your own well-being. Another beautiful practice is learning to receive compliments and good things gracefully. Many of us were taught to deflect praise, to minimize our accomplishments, or to feel uncomfortable when good things come our way. But when you truly see yourself as the prize, you can receive appreciation and abundance as natural expressions of your worth. The next time someone offers you a compliment, try simply saying thank you instead of explaining why they're wrong or deflecting their kindness. When good opportunities come your way, practice receiving them with gratitude rather than questioning whether you deserve them. When someone wants to help you or give you something, allow yourself to receive their gift rather than insisting you don't need anything. This practice of graceful receiving teaches you that you're worthy of good things, that appreciation and abundance are your natural birthright. It also teaches others that you value yourself enough to accept their kindness, which often encourages them to offer even more. Throughout your day, you can practice small acts of self-honor. This might mean choosing foods that make your body feel good, taking breaks when you need them, speaking to yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend, or making decisions based on what truly serves your well-being rather than what you think you should do. These practices aren't about perfection. They're about consistently choosing love over old habits of self-abandonment. Some days you'll remember to treat yourself as the prize you are, and other days you'll fall back into old patterns. Both are perfectly normal parts of the journey. What matters is that you keep coming back to love, keep choosing worthiness, keep treating yourself as someone precious and deserving of care. Now let's talk about one of the most transformative practices you can embrace: mirror work. I know this might feel uncomfortable at first, and that's perfectly okay. Most of us have been trained to look in the mirror to find flaws, to criticize what we see, to focus on what needs to be fixed or improved. But what if the mirror could become a place of healing instead? What if it could become your gateway to falling in love with yourself? Mirror work is simply the practice of looking into your own eyes and speaking to yourself with love. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful because your eyes are the windows to your soul. When you look into your own eyes with kindness, you're connecting with the deepest part of yourself, the part that has always been worthy, the part that has never been broken, the part that is pure love. Start gently with this practice. You don't need to begin by declaring your undying love for yourself if that feels too big. You might simply look into your own eyes and say, "Hello, beautiful," or "I see you," or "You matter to me." Notice what comes up when you do this. You might feel silly, embarrassed, or even sad. These reactions are normal and important information about your relationship with yourself. Many people find that mirror work brings up emotions they didn't expect. You might feel grief for all the years you spoke to yourself harshly. You might feel anger at the people who taught you to be critical of yourself. You might feel scared to be this kind to yourself, as if something bad will happen if you truly embrace your worth. All of these feelings are welcome and valid. Let them move through you without trying to fix or change them. As you continue with mirror work, you'll begin to change the conversation you have with yourself throughout the day. Most of us have an inner voice that comments on everything we do, and for many of us, this voice learned to be critical, harsh, or demanding. Mirror work helps you transform this inner critic into an inner champion, someone who supports you, encourages you, and speaks to you with the same love you would offer to someone you cherish. When you catch your inner voice being mean or critical, you can gently redirect it. Instead of "You're so stupid for making that mistake," you might say, "You're learning, and that's beautiful." Instead of "You look terrible today," you might say, "You're doing your best, and that's enough." This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect. It's about speaking to yourself with the same compassion you would offer to a beloved friend going through a difficult time. The inner dialogue transformation takes time and patience. You've probably been practicing self-criticism for years, so it's natural that learning self-compassion will take practice too. Be gentle with yourself as you learn this new way of inner speaking. Every time you catch yourself being harsh and choose kindness instead, you're rewiring your brain for self-love. As you do this work consistently, something beautiful begins to happen. The voice in your head becomes your ally instead of your enemy. You start to trust yourself more because you know that inner voice will support you rather than tear you down. You make decisions more easily because you're not constantly second-guessing yourself. You take more risks because you know that even if things don't work out perfectly, you'll treat yourself with kindness rather than punishment. Mirror work also helps you prepare for how you want to interact with the world. When you practice speaking to yourself with love and respect, you naturally begin to expect that same treatment from others. You start to notice more quickly when someone is treating you in a way that doesn't match your self-respect, and you find it easier to address these situations with grace and firmness. As your relationship with yourself transforms, you'll begin to notice that your relationships with others start shifting too. This isn't magic, though it might feel magical. It's the natural result of knowing your worth and living from that truth. When you truly value yourself, You become a magnet for people who can appreciate and honor that value. When you treat yourself with respect, you unconsciously teach others how to treat you. You might notice that some relationships in your life begin to feel different. People who were used to you being available for their needs without considering your own might feel confused or even resistant when you start honoring your boundaries. Some relationships might naturally fade as you realize they were built on old patterns of you giving more than you received. This can feel sad, and it's important to honor any grief that comes up. But remember that making space in your life creates room for relationships that truly serve your highest good. On the other hand, you might be amazed at how some relationships deepen and become more authentic when you start showing up as your true, worthy self. People who genuinely care about you will celebrate your growth and self-love. They'll appreciate the more authentic, confident person you're becoming, and they'll often rise to meet your new energy with more respect and appreciation. You'll also start attracting new people who match your energy of self-worth. These might be friends who support your dreams rather than diminishing them, romantic partners who celebrate your independence rather than trying to control you, or colleagues who recognize and appreciate your contributions. These new relationships feel different because they're built on a foundation of mutual respect rather than old patterns of seeking validation or approval. The same principle applies to opportunities in your life. When you know you're the prize, you start to recognize and pursue opportunities that truly serve you. You stop settling for jobs that drain your spirit or situations that require you to dim your light. You start saying yes to things that excite you and align with your values, even if they feel scary or unfamiliar. This shift in energy often brings opportunities that you couldn't have imagined before. It's as if the universe responds to your new level of self-respect by offering you experiences that match that energy. You might find yourself being offered positions you never thought to apply for, meeting people who open doors you didn't know existed, or discovering talents and passions you never allowed yourself to explore. The key is learning to recognize these opportunities when they appear and having the courage to say yes to them. Sometimes the things that would serve us most don't look like what we expected. They might require us to stretch beyond our comfort zones or to trust ourselves in new ways. But when you know you're worthy of good things, you can more easily recognize when something is truly meant for you. Building sustainable self-worth isn't about reaching some final destination where you always feel confident and never have doubts. It's about creating a practice of returning to love again and again throughout the ups and downs of life. There will be days when old patterns try to reassert themselves, when external circumstances trigger old insecurities, when you forget for a moment how magnificent you are. This is all part of being human, and it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and self-compassion. Each time you catch yourself falling into old patterns and gently redirect yourself toward love, you're strengthening your self-worth muscle. Each time you choose to treat yourself with kindness instead of criticism, you're reinforcing new neural pathways of self-love. Each time you honor your needs and boundaries, you're demonstrating to yourself that you matter. Think of self-worth like tending a garden. Some days you'll need to water it with kind words and gentle actions. Some days you'll need to weed out thoughts and behaviors that don't serve your growth. Some days you'll need to protect it from harsh weather, perhaps external criticism or internal doubts. And some days you'll simply get to enjoy the beauty of what you've cultivated. Creating an environment that supports your self-worth is also important for sustainable growth. This might mean surrounding yourself with books, music, or art that reminds you of your value. It might mean spending time in nature, which has a way of reflecting back to us our inherent worth without us having to do anything to earn it. It might mean connecting with communities of people who are also committed to growth and self-love. Pay attention to what nourishes your sense of worth and what depletes it. You might notice that certain social media accounts make you feel inadequate, or that certain environments bring out your insecurities. This isn't about avoiding all challenges or creating a bubble around yourself. It's about being conscious of the influences in your life and making choices that support your well-being and growth. Remember that growth isn't always linear. You might have periods of rapid expansion followed by times of integration where it feels like nothing is happening. You might have breakthrough moments followed by days when old patterns feel stronger than ever. All of this is normal and part of the process. Trust that every experience is contributing to your journey of coming home to yourself. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to take a moment to feel into your future self, the version of you who fully embraces being the prize. See yourself walking through life with quiet confidence, making decisions from love rather than fear, surrounded by people who truly appreciate and celebrate who you are. Feel how it would be to wake up each morning knowing that you matter, that your presence in this world is a gift, that you deserve all the love and good things life has to offer. This isn't a fantasy. This is your birthright. This is who you really are underneath all the conditioning and old stories. You don't need to become someone different to be worthy of love and respect. You simply need to remember and embody the magnificent being you've always been. The journey of recognizing yourself as the prize is one of the most courageous journeys you can take. It requires you to question everything you've been taught about worth and value. It asks you to trust your own inner wisdom over external voices. It invites you to love yourself, even when others might not understand or approve. This takes tremendous bravery, and I want you to acknowledge yourself for having the courage to walk this path. You have everything you need within you to live as the prize you are. You have wisdom, strength, creativity, and love. You have unique gifts that only you can offer to the world. You have a perspective and way of being that matters. The world needs what you have to give, but first you need to recognize and honor it yourself. Starting today, starting right now, you can begin treating yourself as the precious being you are. You can speak to yourself with kindness. You can make choices that honor your well-being. You can set boundaries that protect your energy. You can receive good things gracefully. You can walk through life knowing that you matter, that you're worthy, that you're enough exactly as you are. Your worth is not something you need to prove or earn. It's not dependent on what you accomplish, how you look, or what others think of you. Your worth is inherent, unchangeable, and infinite. It was yours the moment you were born, and it will be yours for the rest of your life. Nothing can take it away because it's woven into the very fabric of who you are. The universe is conspiring to support you in remembering this truth. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again. Every breath is a reminder that you're alive and valuable. Every opportunity for kindness, especially kindness toward yourself, is a chance to practice living as the prize you are. I want to leave you with this truth. You are loved, you are valuable, and you are worthy of every beautiful thing this life has to offer. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are a magnificent expression of life itself, and that makes you incredibly precious. Trust this, believe this, live this. The world is waiting for you to shine your light fully, and it all begins with recognizing the treasure that you are. Take this knowing with you into your life. Let it guide your choices, inform your relationships, and shape how you treat yourself each day. You are the prize, dear one. You always have been, and you always will be. Now go out into the world and live like you know it.